Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of August 6th, last regular meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Call for the question.
Questions been called for? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Okay, next item is some minutes from the Main Street. These are the last 2 minutes just to get everybody up to speed, so I have it in the official record. I don't think you have to approve them. They're just there for information of what the stages they've been going through. So, unless you have any questions on them, then we'll move on. And the next one is minutes from the, or just a meeting, a thing from the meeting on the drought task force, monthly meeting. Looks like they have a progress report. So, any questions? Okay. Okay, now we'll go into the mayor's report to the city council. First item is the appointment of the new probationary firefighter, Tyler Landis, if I said that correct. Mr. Ginley, chief?
Yeah, if I may, I'd like to introduce Tyler Landis to the mayor and the city council. These are new appointee at the fire department because Bill Wagner left to go to Drummond and asked for his appointment, so I asked him to come to city council to let you see his smiling face. And he's been on duty, a few calls with us now, so that we're proud to have him aboard.
Okay.
I move approval of the request.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint, or to approve the appointment of the firefighter, Tyler Landis. Discussion? Question's been called for. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, well, congratulations, welcome. You just joined a really good fire team. So,
Thank you. And thank you, and I did tell him he can leave right afterwards, so it's not that he's sneaking out. I'm a busy guy too, so if he leaves,
Did you tell him he had to do a 15-minute speech?
I always do it.
I'm prepared for that.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next item on the agenda is appoint Mitch Staley as the county representative to the city planning board.
I move to approve Mitch Daly as member of the planning board.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Mitch Staley to the city planning board as county representative. Discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to appoint Mitch Staley to the planning board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Now it's your 15-minute speech.
Yeah, right. Can I leave now?
No, you gotta stop.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is it's a contract kind of thing for me to sign up with Craig Shepard to help in the year end. He's been hired the past couple of years to help the treasurer and the clerk to do year-end closing, because they have a bunch of adjustments they have to do, and he's done them for many years. The plan is, this is the last year where I got a promise that they're going to train and write down everything for sure, everything in detail, and so we'll have a little book on how to do closing. So this will probably be the last year that we would have to hire for this person to help. So.
I would move approval of the engagement of the mayor to engage Craig Shepard.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Is it a more formal agreement with him, or?
This is all he took last year and that. And this is what he sent, this is sufficient for him, so.
And he's got it laid out what he's
Yeah,
going to
this
do.
is sufficient for us.
Yeah.
So, it's just if I get your approval, and it's no real official contract, it's your vote, and then I'll sign the check to pay them.
Okay.
So it's, along with your guys' vote, then I'm willing to sign. Okay, it's been moved and seconded, sorry, I think it went to discussion.
Call for the question.
Okay, question's been called for. All those in favor of engaging Craig Shepherd for year-end closing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, it's unanimous. Okay, next one is, on the agenda is some letters regarding the Labor Day street closure from Mr. Kraft, but he's not here, he's sick today, but Don is here in his place.
Yeah, these are just letters that have been asked, or been sent to Chief Kraft in regards to the street closures. Every year, there are people that propose the street closures for Labor Day. We've never had any problem in the past. The reason that he's extending the open container, which is also in these letters, up to Reeder Street on certain evenings, and that is to help out the brewery down there, so they can have open containers coming back and forth. Of course, they close at 8, so it shouldn't be a huge impact or anything like that. And we've left it in here to where I'll be out, so I can determine whether they need to be closed as needed. Some years, some streets need to be closed, some years they don't. It's just, we'll just gauge the traffic and see what's going on there, so. And the waiver of the open container.
And then there's that Friday night where they have the concert down.
Yeah, and they've all been applied for. From my understanding is they've all been applied for, and I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
I would move approval of the street closure request and the waiver of the open container ordinance as
Second.
presented.
Sorry, getting a little ahead of you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, discussion.
Call for the question.
Okay, to approve for the street closure on Labor Day and the waive the open container for Labor Day as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Okay, next item on the agenda is the resolution for establishing the cost of a street maintenance district for the fiscal year 2014 and a resolution of intent to adopt and approve the assessment for proposed schedules of the projects, repairs, and improvements, setting the hearing thereon.
I move approval.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Mr. Doctor?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say to the council that the Street and Alley Committee has worked with the mayor and his staff on this project, and we feel confident this is necessary in order to keep our street maintenance in repair.
Mr. Knight?
Now, this is to go to a hearing first?
Well, this is, well, you're setting the amount to go to the hearing. We'll have the hearing, which is in there on the second page.
September 17th.
And September 17th is when the hearing date will be. And at that time, also after the hearing, we'll go into a vote on the resolution to set the cost and that. So this is just saying that you've adopted this amount, but you still got to go to a hearing, and then you still got another resolution to set it to that amount. This pretty much sets up the hearing, and it sets up that you've adopted the schedule of what we're going to do with street maintenance plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got some constituents that, they're fine with $1.85 per linear foot. If we can get our water bills to come down a little bit, they're, I mean, it's up to what we can do later on, but they understand that we're gonna have some funding to help do that.
And just, I have a proposal in front of the Finance Committee to talk this time coming up on Thursday, to talk just about that, how to lower the water not necessarily the water rates, but the total water cost,
Right.
water and sewer costs down. The water rates we won't touch right now,
Right.
but the actual overall cost, I have a proposal. If the council deems fit with it, then we'll be done, if not, but that's a later discussion, so. Any other discussion?
Call for the question.
Okay, the questions we call for to vote on the resolution establishing the cost of street maintenance district for the fiscal year 2014 and the resolution of intent to adopt and approve assessment for proposed schedules of projects, repair, improvements, and setting hearing thereon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous? Okay, Jamie will put out the hearing, or put in the paper to advertise for the hearing. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is another resolution. This one was about the neighbor works. There's two of them. We'll vote on each one separately, but the first one is designated the Director of Operations as the environmental preparer for the Neighbor Works Montana Home Grant application. Pretty much says that he's the one that does Mr. Turner, or Director of Operations, will be the one that looks over the application for the environmental part.
I would move approval of the resolution as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and second, discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
I-
you okay give a speech or something like that, or?
I really don't think it's gonna be more than one or two, maybe a year even, really.
It's, you basically go down through a questionnaire and give a little history of the area, things like that, just like the CTIP. Most of the time, it's categorical, let me try that again. Categorical exclusion set up because we don't have brownfields in the city of Dillon to speak of. A lot of towns do, and they try to take the brownfield, the old industrial sites, and make them into housing sites. Now that can be a very big issue from time to time. Not a big deal, it should be quite interesting. Brownsfield is an old industrial site that has been abandoned, that they like to redevelop into housing or parks or whatever.
Kind of like the Dillon wool over here.
No, it's not a brownfield, it's not polluted or anything.
No.
And it's got stuff they don't really know, it's what they call it, kind of brown.
Yeah.
Who knows what's there, really, you know, so you gotta kind of treat some of them kind of special.
I think Bozeman ran into that, didn't they build this?
Oh, yes.
Landfill.
Call for the question.
Okay, question's been called for on the resolution designating the Director of Operations as the environmental preparer for Neighbor Works. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Unanimous? Okay, next on the agenda, again, is another resolution. This one has to do with designating Director of Operations as the environmental review record. They're sort of together, related, and they wanted two resolutions. So,
I would move approval of the resolution as presented.
moved and seconded, discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for the resolution designating the Director of Operations as environmental review record for the Neighbor Works Montana home application. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, it's unanimous. Next one, another resolution. This one was, Mr. Kraft presented his letter at the last meeting, and he directed the city attorney to prepare a resolution to amend for the open meeting and the notice policy, and that's what you have in front of you.
What? Oh, okay. Move to approve the resolution to clarify the open meeting times.
Been moved in second, discussion?
I have a question.
Ms. Weston?
Since we're clarifying, should we go ahead and include the boards and commissions then on that, to follow that, and ad hoc committees?
Oh,
I think paragraph 2 discusses that the policy would apply. When I read 721 to 60,
no, 2 is just about reports,
right,
not really. I was thinking, and I might be wrong, it would be like an ad hoc committee. And it isn't just, when we wrote it, it wasn't just, it was committee meetings, and that would count ad hoc committees too. But we can add that
Yeah.
in if you,
Well, and do you want to add, boards and commissions?
no, that's true, that wasn't, so all committees and boards, should we add that? And that should cover everything, including the tree board and any other.
Right. Should be all boards and commissions, you'll have to put commissions, because it's only a commission rather than a board.
Okay,
So,
that's true. Do I have a motion to amend?
that's another.
Oh, okay.
It should probably have a repealer at the end, repealing 721.
And 962,
Yeah,
both going.
960.
Okay,
Is the library going in this?
I didn't,
I don't remember what the book says on that. I know they
That's a-
follow the 48,
it's a gray area, I don't know.
yeah.
I mean,
I
I've
would
been
say-
having him look this last week on what's the rules with the library and.
It's all on the online.
I would say
and
if
read
it's a
it
board, it's gonna
on
have to follow the same.
Yeah.
So will it be, that's true, with
There'd
the
be no
boards
reason-
added, it would be, then they would have to follow. Sorry, I'm not.
Oh, that's okay.
I would make no motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for the 2 amendments about the repeal and about adding commissions and boards in there. Discussion on that.
Call to the question.
Okay, the question's been called for to add commissions and boards on the line 1 to cover, and also to repeal the resolutions 721 and 921. All in favor of that, say, or 960, not 920, 960, sorry. All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I would take that as unanimous to change the motion now. Now the motion on the table is to approve this with those 2 additions into it, and we're still in discussion on that. Any discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to approve the resolution to amend the notice and agenda policy with the stated amendments, with the adding commissions and boards and the repealer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous with the amendments. Thank you. Next one is the resolution of the City Council of the City of Dillon adopting the preliminary city budget. Somewhere in there. For the fiscal year 2014, including budgets for lighting, street maintenance, and sprinkling district, and all the SIDs, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. I hope everybody, I didn't get one.
Oh, I would move approval of the resolution. to adopt the preliminary city budget.
Okay, been moved and seconded, discussion. And what this is here on this, oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
this is just starting, this is approving the preliminary. So you're setting it up, so now it's what we're gonna work out of for the preliminary budget. We're setting the dates for it to be published in the paper to get it ready for final. So this pretty much just says, here's the budget we're gonna start with. And it can still be changed, any of it can still be changed by the council. And we're going to hearing, and then you'll have another vote on it for final. And I see Mr. Arthur, I interrupted, and you had a statement, so.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that the Finance Council has been working with the mayor and his staff on the budget. We've made changes over our meetings, and we still have a few questions that are being researched, but we feel it's time to bring the preliminary budget before the full council with our recommendation.
So you want a motion?
I think the motion's been made, just need a question. Oh, Mr. McGinley?
A comment on this, was something that popped up again last year, and of the lateness of adopting the budget. I'm assuming this is about a week or two late from the state statute when local government budgets are supposed to be adopted. Right?
I don't know.
Well, I thought it was, we had to do it by September 1st, or, and I'm not saying I remember exactly, but it's like, there's an or in it. It's either September 1st or 90 days from, or 60 days, one and two, from when you get that tax statement from the state. I can't remember what they call
30
it.
days or,
No, I think it's 60.
and,
It's either 60 or 90, I think it's 60. And we only got ours like 1st of July, or end of July, somewhere in there. Can't remember the exact date I got
I
it.
always thought it was supposed to be by the
They're supposed to have it out around 1st of
first
July, but
Monday
they
after the
didn't.
second Tuesday, or the first Monday, or the second Monday after the first Tuesday, something like that. I know we had that discussion last year, but probably my mind, it's supposed to be.
Well, I believe it's September. It was like the 1st of September or 60 days from when they gave that. And I think we'll just make it on time if everything goes well. But that's just going off of memory, and like, we can pause the meeting if you want, and we can go get the book. So, okay, I mean, it's up to you guys, really. That's what I believe, it's like the 1st September or 9th, or 60 days from when we got it, and we didn't get it in the 1st of July, it was somewhere in the middle to end of July is when we got it. I can't remember the exact date from the state, the tax valuation, something that's, I can't remember the exact title of it. It values, it tells you what your mill levy is, that statement, so.
Call for the question.
Okay, question's been called for to pass the resolution, or vote on the resolution of the City Council for the adopting the preliminary city budget for the fiscal year 2014, and with including the budgets of the lighting, street maintenance, and street clean district in the SIDS 33, 34, 35, 36, and 37, and setting a hearing thereon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, unanimous. We'll get that published in the paper also, on the dates it says for the hearing. Okay, we're done with resolutions now. Okay. Now, the next one, city requests, or citizens requests, sorry. And it's in front of you. So we'll just take a minute or two to go reading through if you have any questions, and not, we'll move on. Okay, let's move on. Okay, next one, reports of the officers and boards of the city. Mr. Dillon, city attorney.
Yeah, as you can see, we've had quite a few resolutions that have been drafted in the last week or two. I've been working, I think, with the Trails Coalition and the Y, and I can report to the council that I've gotten a redraft of the easement agreement late this afternoon. I have not had a chance to review it. Mr. Hanson has made some changes that we discussed at the Street and Alley Committee meeting on Monday. So, gearing up for Labor Day, I think things will probably work pretty smoothly. It sounds like Paul and I have communicated on it, and that's about it.
Any questions? Okay. Planning board, do they have any?
We're trying to put a meeting together for next week.
Okay, just send Stacy or I, will get posted for sure. Thank you. Zoning commission,
No report.
thank you. Director of operations, Mr. Turner.
I have no zoning compliance certificates to report on. I do want to make a comment on our new wastewater treatment plant. Our tests have been coming back. They're just totally off the chart in a good way. And we are more than pleased with the way our new wastewater treatment plant is operating. And so if you want to come in, I'll show you the information that we've received back from the tests, and it's just amazing.
It is doing its,
Sorry. Yeah.
it is doing its job. Ammonia was, we were over the limit on ammonia, and now they really can't even measure. You know, the level that they come up says it's below their sensitivity level, so it's really done its job with the ammonia. Overall, it's done its job, all through, so I agree, it's been doing its job.
You're
Plus
there
the-
last time,
Yeah.
right after we got through it.
Yep.
Failed miserable.
No, this one's doing good. Any other questions for Mr. Turner?
Any questions? I still want to make the announcement to everybody, please cut your weeds and your grass. I saw a few weeds here yesterday. I think I'm gonna start cutting them for Christmas trees, because they're about as tall as, there's some kochia out there that's 6 to 7 feet tall. And I think we could just maybe save one and decorate it as a Christmas tree here. Please, you know, it'd be really nice if people could clean up before Labor Day. I know I'm gonna go down along Montana Street and try to clean that up, and at least the parade route and the main routes into Dillon. And it's actually easier for us to go do it than it is to try to get a hold of the people and have them do it. So please take care of your property. Oh yeah, the Boardwalk Craft Fair. If somebody wants to reserve a booth, I think we'll still accept applications for that. What do we have, 7? 6 vendors signed up, maybe 7. Oh, so 6 then. So we've got plenty of spaces left. If somebody wants to come and set up, and it'll be in the Depot Park for the big weekend.
Mr. Knight?
I see somebody finally cut the weeds down in front of the old Ford place.
That was us. Because the owner is in Vegas, and I don't know how he can cut them down. I requested a local individual here that's supposed to be taking care of his property to cut them. That was probably a good 3 weeks ago. So I sent Austin down, and he cut the tall ones down anyway. So, I don't know. Some people aren't very good neighbors, I guess.
Well, it looks better than what it did.
It looks better than what it did, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next one, usually is Mr. Kraft. Mr. Iverson now.
Yeah, just, for the council, Paul, for Chief Kraft gathered up our, officers' activity report for the month. As you can see, we were pretty busy, as we have been, it seems like the past 6 months, but he's got everything on there, and just asked me to look at it, see that we're doing what we need to do, and we're busy.
Move the approval of the officers' report.
Okay, it's been moved and second to accept the police activity report. Discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to accept the report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Any other questions or statements you want to make, Mr. Garrison?
No, I think we're, well, other than we're geared up for Labor Day, I think that we did better than we did even in the past few years. We had it together about what we were doing, who we had on, who was going to be working, our scheduling and everything was all planned out about 2 months in advance, just so we could, kind of foresee what's going to happen. And it's been pretty simple. It's rolling along right away. I'm sure we'll have some bumps in the roads this week, getting things figured out at the last moment, but I think we're in good shape, we're ready for it. All the guys are ready for it. They'll be losing some, they won't get a lot of sleep that weekend, but I think they're ready for it.
Okay, thank you. Next one, Fire Chief, Mr. McGinley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two things. First of all is the expenditure report for July 14. It's in your packet, and that's for your approval.
I would move approval.
Been moved and seconded to approve the fire hall report for July. Discussion.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to accept the fire hall report for July. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Anything else, Mike?
Yeah, thank you. Just working with the finance committee on the budget for the year. Certainly appreciate the concept of setting together a large equipment fund for emergencies if something happens, and that's been working well for the last couple of years. What really brought it to light is the ladder truck that the city of Dillon owns, every 5 years has to go through a underwriting laboratory inspection. It's a pretty thorough 17-page report, but they go through literally every bolt on that truck to make sure it's safe. Our ladder truck passed. Everything's up to snuff on it. There's a few little minor electrical wires that run up the ladder that has to be replaced, and we've got a mechanic working on that. And that's a once every 5-year deal at that level. We inspect them monthly, and have mechanics inspect yearly, and this is the 5-year report, so we're good. What really brings that to mind and the importance of that fund that we put together is just in the article in the Missoula newspaper just this week, is their ladder truck, 24-year-old truck, went through the same inspection and had some serious trouble. They were figuring it was going to cost $250,000 to repair the ladder truck they went. So they went to the city council and did an emergency budget renewal for the year, and the council decided to buy a new truck, a new ladder truck, instead of spending $250,000 on a used one. And following the lengthy discussion, the council voted unanimously to buy a new $966,000 truck. So, like I said, that's what, with this repair and maintenance that we try to do on the city fire trucks. When I was talking during the finance committee, that we're, they're $500,000 trucks. Like this little one, you get into those ladder type trucks, I mean, there is $1 million to replace those things. So, that fund, I think, that the city council has decided to put together is money well invested, and I hope it works out, and hope we don't get into that situation where we have to buy a new truck with that kind of money.
Keep up the good work, Mike.
Yeah, it was just interesting. I came out this week, just as we finished our ladder truck and the budget and everything came together.
So what does their used wood car sell for?
Nobody wants to buy it, right? That's all, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next one was Judge Shay Irwin, who's not here. Next one is treasurer. Usually you'd see a treasurer report, he's in right in the middle and he didn't get it done on time for the packet. He's changing some things around to make it simpler to track all the investments and the cash. And so he's setting up accounts, so you're gonna see the sheets look really different. He'll be ready next meeting for sure. He's almost ready right now. But I told him just to make sure you get all your I's dotted right now and we'll put it on the next meeting to see. So he's making it so it's a lot easier to track all this stuff and a lot easier to do the bank reconciliations. So now it takes quite a bit of time. He's trying to set it up to make it a lot easier to do. So you'll see that a little different. That's why it's not here right now on it. So next one is library board. Does Mr. Nye have any?
No, all I got to say is we may have to replace the member on the board. Someone has resigned. I don't know if their 72 hours is up.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there is a 72-hour. I know there is for an elected official, but appointed, I'm not sure if there is. So it's kind of like when you resign, you're gone.
Who resigned?
Long.
And the chairman resigned. So,
But that's not all I have to report.
okay. Thank you. Tree board, Mr. Turner?
There was, meeting minutes here from way back in April 7th that apparently didn't get put in the packet, earlier on. Tree board activity, not a whole lot right now. We did meet with, Jamie. She is the head person from Missoula, DNRC, the person that oversees our grants. She was down last week and was very impressed with the work that the tree board and how well the city and the tree board have worked together on these things. And so she gave us a big thumbs up on it. It was good.
Should we make a motion to approve the minutes?
I would make that motion to approve the minutes of April 7th of the tree board.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion to approve the April 7th tree board meeting minutes. Discussion.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Anything else on it, or?
Unless people have questions.
Are the meetings of the tree board being noticed?
Yes, they are.
Mr. Knight?
We got in the mail the other day something about, I can't remember who it's from, but it's about the trees in the area. It's a survey to you. Do you know anything about that?
I haven't seen that. Bring it in, I'd like to take a look at it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, so.
It was in my wife's name.
It's
Mr.
Lynn
Travis?
Giles, 704 South Pacific. It's from the National Arbor Day, because I looked at it and I thought, what is this? And then I, because it was talking about all the different, and they wanted to give you 8 blue spruces. I thought, no, we don't want any blue spruces. But so I looked to see where it was coming from, and it was the National Arbor Day people. And then I noticed today, there was a calendar in the mail, a 2015 calendar in the mail from the same group. And I'm not sure where they're getting all of our names or what they're doing, but I just found it interesting. I think I threw mine out there.
Good. Anything else? Okay, thank you. Let me take just a minute here, at this point if we could, on another, I call it a special meeting. And if I could, maybe just take a fast poll for who's gonna be here. If they won't be here on Friday, we'll set it up for another date. Is Is everybody gonna make here?
I can make arrangements to
Okay, so there's a quorum, okay, then we'll just leave it, never mind. Just wanna make sure we had a quorum, if not, I'll set up another day, cause like I said, I'm not gonna be the mayor that says no to the JC parade, okay? So,
Paul has the authority to approve it, why?
I was told he didn't, not for street closures. To waive the,
The parades, the parade, isn't it?
He signed off on the rate.
oh, he signed off on it, they were saying we don't have to come to the council. I was just going off of what he.
It's for the parade. It's-
Yes,
And he has the authority to approve the parades.
Well, he does have to approve the parades.
Hmm?
And it's my understanding that he does have to approve the parades.
Yeah, he has the authority to approve the parades. We looked it up in what, 10 some, Title 10.
okay.
He approached me last week and asked me if I could contact this contact person from the JCs because they hadn't submitted a permit, so I did so. I think it was either late Friday or early Monday, I can't remember which. So I gather this apparently didn't make the agenda. But anyway.
Yeah, well,
But we'll look and
I mean,
verify.
if he's concerned about it, wants to change the policy, we can do that, but I just wondered why.
Mr. Turner?
Maybe he gets those.
It is a big enough event, our insurance carrier requires that we have a special permit for it so that we know that they've got their liability insurance and that the route, meets all of the criteria from the emergency services people. And that is why, that is different than a high school parade or things like that. This is a bigger event and there's a lot more liability at
Well,
stake
yeah, I agree
here.
with you.
And that's why I think we believe that the city council needs to be aware of it and that they have met their requirement on liability insurance.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's
maybe
why
we can-
that's why we're going the extra step.
Okay, well, that's understandable, and I agree with it, it's just that the ordinance book doesn't say that, so we'll talk about that when we do some other revisions.
It
the
fits into that
events thing.
special events thing and
I
the
agree with you.
liability.
Yeah, and that's what he did, they did come in finally and fill it all out,
Yeah.
got it all taken care of, looks like everything's in line, Paul did sign off on it, but as JS says, just I think to keep the
We
city
just
and the
haven't
police
done it
department.
before, so
Yeah.
it's all of a sudden we're going through all this business, and if we wanna get more formal, we can do that.
Yeah, it might be best for the city in the long run, if something
Yes,
ever
it
did
is.
happen, to make sure that we
On
have
the
all
big
our
pieces.
Yeah.
T's crossed, and that's what Paul kind of looked
You're
at.
talking to the person that listed liability.
back again.
And
Something along that line, or somebody gets hurt on the
I
ground.
don't say that, but.
Yeah.
Paul did tell me that he thought that, they hadn't done this in the past, but he thought that it needed to be done going forward,
Yeah.
so.
And I agree.
Just being extra thorough.
Okay. Okay, now, reports to standing committees. First, Judiciary Committee, Ms. West,
No report.
thank you. Any statements you want, or, no report, sorry, you did say it. Sorry, Finance Committee, he's gone,
No report.
okay. Health, Fire, and Order, Mr. Schaefer.
Just that I'm gonna be setting up a meeting for this next week for the Humane Society on their neuter and spay clinic.
Okay, just send either Stacy or I or whoever, not whoever, Dustin, you send it to one of us to get it in on the board. Okay, thanks. Cemetery Parks Committee, Mr. Troutson. Thank you. Street and Alley, Mr. Octor.
Yes, before you have the minutes of the August 11th, 2014 Street and Alley Committee meeting. I would make a motion to approve.
It's been moved second, discussion to approve the minutes for the August 11th meeting.
Call for the question.
Question's been called for the approval of the August 11th, 2014 minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
came out of that meeting, but we've already approved that in the resolution, so I won't go over that. But at that meeting, we actually had a presentation from Craig Jones and on the Main Street project. And they're proposing several things, you can see in the minutes there. But we are waiting for some estimates from our civil engineer before the street now gets together again and discusses what the Main Street project is asking for. In addition to that, we had a presentation by Mr. Nathan Wilson and Dr. Dan Downey on the proposed extension of the YMCA trail system. Again, Mr. Dillon is working with their legal counsel on the easement to get that finalized. And once we get that finalized, we will get another meeting back together to get a recommendation before the full council.
I have a question. On this aerial photo, shows the new bridge location. Okay. A path coming down the new bridge location. Okay. Is there a loop tying back into the existing trail system, or is that a one-way deal that you have to come back? I don't see where there's a trail that, once you cross the bridge, where do you go from there?
Yeah, that hooks in, what is it, Mr.
The trail will hook up with the existing Jefferson Street right-of-way. Jefferson Street at this point in time is not developed, but, and then Jefferson would hook up with Park Street.
Okay, so then it will be a hookup going south from the bridge then to hook up with Jefferson Street? Is that
It would be going south, correct.
Oh, okay, I was confused there.
I think the ultimate is they're gonna go all the way up to the M or W, whatever you wanna call it up there.
That's where that all tie in.
Okay?
And the last item at that meeting, we talked about the street maintenance budget, and that was the resolution we had approved earlier in this meeting.
Okay?
And also before the council is the minutes of the Street and Alley Committee meeting of August 15th, 2014, for which I would ask approval.
Second.
Okay? It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to approve the August 15th meeting minutes of the Street and Alley Committee. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay?
And that meeting was just a follow-up to the previous Street and Alley Committee meeting on the YMCA easement agreement. And the committee and Mr. Dillon had several questions that needed to be answered on the easement agreement. And Mr. Dillon has been working with their attorney to get those completed. And then we'll review that easement again at our next meeting.
Okay? Thank you, Mr. Octor. Next item on the agenda is Water Sewer Committee, Mr. Cotton.
Just got a report for our water and sewer committee meeting Monday at 2:15 to discuss the Johnson place and a few other things. And I'd like to approve on my record report for July.
Are we done with approval?
Been moved and seconded to approve the revenue report. Discussion?
Call for the question.
Question's been called for to, excuse me, to accept the revenue report for July for the Water Sewer Committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
I had a statement for Bob and Lynn. Next Tuesday, I start my course at the college on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings, and that goes through September. And I appreciate you guys, you found it well to participate in
you. No Tuesdays, Thursdays. Okay. Any other? Okay. Last item on the agenda is public comment on items of significant public interest, not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the city.
I'd like to read a statement into the record, please, before we sign.
Mr. Troutson?
Okay, it's, in regards to Ms. Jaffe's, AKA MJ's articles in the Dillon Daily. And the first issue is the July 7th issue where she accuses me of saying I wanted the chief of police to arrest the mayor for misconduct. And at the council meeting on 8/6, Ms. Jaffe apologized and said, "I will make a retraction in the paper on it," end quote. And to date, there's been no retraction forthcoming. Ms. Jaffe went on to say, "I make a real effort," this is quote, "I make a real effort to report it as it happens," end quote. Given that she made such efforts to, quote, "report it as it happens," end quote, she must have intentionally accused me of saying something I did not say. Misinformation seems to be a constant issue with her reporting. Ms. Jaffe should be held accountable and be expected to meet her commitment to publish the retraction. The next issue I have a problem with is the August 11th issue, in which Ms. Jaffe attempts to discredit Mr. Gore through the use of innuendos by implying Mr. Gore was confused as to whether his resignation should be in writing. She was silent on the fact that I asked, shouldn't the resignation be in writing? This was followed by Mayor Clacken expressing the opinion that a written opinion was not a requirement so long as the resignation was verbally expressed in front of the council. In my opinion, Ms. Jaffe's not including my and Mayor Clacken's testimony constitutes incomplete information to further serve her purpose to discredit Mr. Gore. On 8/7/14 at City Hall, Mr. Gore presented his intent to be reinstated. He was informed by the city clerk that the city attorney had determined that the resignation should have been in writing, and technically Mr. Gore's resignation was ineffective. In the absence of the mayor, I encourage Mr. Gore to state his intent to be reinstated in writing, have me witness it, and have the assistant clerk date stamp it in. It is a reality that sometimes we are blindsided by an issue before the information is given to the council members and they have time to research the correct answer. Ms. Jaffe is a journalist wannabe who lacks the professional ethics to present both sides of the story. She uses misinformation, incomplete information, innuendos, and speculation to discredit members of the council and embellish the mayor's image. I have given Stacy a copy of this to be entered into the record and attached to the minutes.
Okay. Will do. Thank you. Any other comments? Going,
Move for adjournment?
been moved and seconded for adjournment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?